to having a robust dialogue about what that partnership is going to look like, what the programs that the Chamber has initiated to really speak into this moment right here, right now, in terms of greater awareness, greater commitment to Black businesses in the city of Philadelphia. But I really want this conversation to center around how we create greater wealth opportunities for the Black community in Philadelphia. So just a really quick statistic, because we know that the racial wealth disparities are real, and the Black community has suffered for centuries, really, because of economic oppression. And so this is just a stat to kind of give us a framework. White families in the United States had a median wealth figure of $188,200, almost 8 times the median wealth of the $24,100 for Black families. And that's according to the Federal Reserve's most recent survey of consumer finances in 2019. So that is a stark gap. And it's probably even worse here in Philadelphia. So, to me, this partnership with the Chamber and WURD is about stepping into that reality and figuring out tangible ways we can create more wealth. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for jobs and skills development, but real wealth creation in the Black community. So I want to welcome the team that is here today to kind of have this conversation. We've got Susan Jacobson, who is the new board chair of the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia. And she is her own self an entrepreneur. She has a thriving communications and public relations organization. And so welcome, Susan. And Sue, should I call you Sue or Susan today?
Whatever you want.
Okay, Sue. Welcome, and looking forward to the conversation. And we also have Ken Anderson, who is the Vice President of Civic Affairs for the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you, Sarah. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have Joel Wilson, who is one of our onWURD small business members. And Joel is the president and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting. Hi, Joel.
How are you doing? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So let's really get into it. And I kind of want to address the elephant in the room first and foremost, because, even our hosts that were on right before this show, we're kind of clowning, I would say me, or clowning the station, because the Chamber, quite frankly, does not have a great track record with the Black community. And so, the fact that we are forging this partnership between WURD and the Chamber, it definitely raises some eyebrows. We might be getting some side eye from our listeners, but the reality is that the Black business community, the Black community, has not really felt served or seen or heard by the Chamber in the past. And even the conversation I had with Joel in prepping for this, he said the same thing in terms of his interaction with the Chamber. So let me throw this to you, Sue, because you're a new board chair, and I know you have your own vision for the Chamber. But can you speak to why should our listening audience and Black businesses be maybe listening with a different ear or open to what the Chamber is trying to do this time around?
Well, Sarah, I think that what you just said is the answer. It's like, just if you could be open to what we're trying to do. We certainly are not a perfect organization, but we are, and just sort of to set the stage with the Chamber, I mean, basically it's comprised of business leaders from large and small companies. We do represent over 600,000 employees and over 2,000 businesses. So and just to answer your question, Sarah, when COVID started, immediately we started hearing from all of these CEOs saying, what can we do to help? And the first thing that we realized was that we have got to come in and start to work with Black and brown businesses to basically lift our city and region that we all love. And so what we did was we started something called Recharge and Recover with over 160 CEOs and executives coming together to figure out what can we do to do our part. And, for your listeners, and Ken's going to talk about this, we have a fantastic procurement initiative, which is dealing with these larger businesses to say a fairer share needs to go to Black and brown businesses. And how do we do that in a real way? And we've got, and Ken will talk about it, but we've got, I think, 83 businesses that have said, we will step up and make sure that we start to send that business out to local Black and brown businesses. And, we have a banking initiative that we started, the only thing of its kind in the country, with 26 leading banks and CDFIs, with Evelyn Small and Charmaine Matlock Turner, and then banks like Jim Deverett, Bank of America, and others, all coming together to basically figure out how do we, they have a commitment to get $100 million back to, again, Black and brown businesses. And of course, we're a chamber, that's our focus, but the hope is that if it goes into these businesses, that it does help individuals and your listeners. And because that's where we feel that we can really start. And then finally, and not finally, there are many initiatives, but another really important initiative we launched was the Reskilling Initiative. How do we start to work with individuals to move them into the jobs of the future, so that all the high-paying jobs don't just go to certain people, but go to everyone, and that there's a fair playing field. So we are the answer to your question is, as you can hear, we are very intentional. We are, and this is, I'm talking on behalf of the entire board, we are absolutely leaning in. Are we perfect, and are we going to hit all of our goals? These are big problems that have existed for centuries, or it's forever, right?
400 years.
400 years, right? And so, but we have to do our share, and we all have this committed purpose. So that's how I would answer that.
If I could
Yeah,
add,
let me just reintroduce. That's because we have people who are watching, but we also have people who are listening. This is radio.
Okay.
So that was Sue Jacobson. She is the board chair of the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia. Ken Anderson. So I know you're going to jump in, but I appreciate everything that Sue just shared, and obviously we are we're partnering with the chamber, so we are believing in this initiative. But the reality also is that the chamber has had other initiatives that have been designed to address these issues, and it didn't really move the needle, or it didn't really feel like there was any kind of direct impact in terms of Philadelphia being the poorest big city in the country and this kind of high unemployment rate, particularly in the Black community. So what are you doing differently this time around that will actually make a difference?
And so
I was directed at you.
Ken. I'm sorry, Ken.
Go ahead, Sue.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to, let me first sort of build on what Sue talked about in terms of owning our history. So I do believe it's important that the chamber does own the history, and I do believe and know that we've got a lot of work still yet to do. And the chamber has begun to do some of that work. Mm-hmm. A lot of this work is, in my opinion, it's top down. It has to start at the top. And as an example with the board, I'll give you a quick stat on the chamber's effort to bring diversity to our board. So since 2007, we were at 31% of our board was diverse in 2007. We've increased that to 42%.
So I just want to, I'm sorry, I just want to jump in, because that word diverse is like, it really is amorphous. And so diverse can be women, diverse can be,
yep.
I'm really, for the purposes of this conversation, I really want to focus on Black people.
So 18% African American.
Okay.
22%, excuse me, of those being women. So I bring the point to say that you ask what's going to be different, or how do we make what our efforts are, how do we keep them going? I think it's the fact that there are people in place who are in a position to keep the drumbeat going. In my role as Vice President of Civic Affairs, I have a personal commitment, not only to Philadelphia, but to my community as well, to make sure, like we've talked about before, Sarah, that the right people get the right resources when they need it. And I think as we talk about some of the initiatives that we're going to be discussing, I hope that becomes very apparent that that's really what we're on the mission to do, get the right people, the right resources now. So when you talk about building generational wealth, I get it. And that is the only way that we're going to see a real change. And so we've got to keep that drumbeat going.
So I would just, as part of my engagement with the Chamber and this partnership, I'm going to push that 18% grows. Philadelphia is 44, and that's probably an undercount, 44% Black. And so I think that board composition should reflect more closely with the demographics of the city. But so I'm going to turn to you, Joel Wilson of JCW Computer Consulting. You are one of our onWURD small business members. And, I think people are familiar with you on the air because you've done work with Solomon and Man Up PHL, and, you're a regular kind of contributor. So talk to us about JCW Computer Consulting and, how you feel about a deeper engagement with the Chamber and how it could help your business potentially to grow.
And thank you, Sarah. Thank you for this opportunity. And I'm excited and encouraged by what I've heard so far. JCW is a company that started when I graduated from college back in 1992. I have a computer science degree, and I also have as many credits in African studies as I do computer science. So when I started, I was a sole proprietor. And most people will not know, but I actually had a full-time job at General Electric coming out of college, top secret security clearance, and I gave it up to go into business. So I walked away from a pretty lucrative set career to risk in going into business in the community. And so, I have, I didn't know a whole lot, I'll admit, when I started in business, and there were not a lot of programs at that time. All of the alphabet soup of support that exists now was not around in 1992. So I've had to make it. I've had some good years. I've had other years that were challenging. One of the things I have seen that has been an impediment is it has been difficult trying to crack into the corporate space in doing business. And, I've gone through a lot of programs. I've gone through the E200 program out at SBA. I also went through a second program with SBA. I mean, I've done a lot of different things, and I've learned a lot of information, but there seems to have been, no matter what, however we upgraded ourselves, whether it's a professional development standpoint, whether it was a new benchmark on, say, the financing capacity or just whatever capacity, it was it was almost like Charlie Brown trying to kick the football. Lucy came in at the last minute and said, oh, well, you didn't check this box. And so you sort of get to a point where you have to decide, am I going to keep chasing something that is seemingly elusive, or am I going to go and sort of target where I know I have success, where I know I can make money and things like that. And so, when COVID hit, our business, we're a tech firm on the infrastructure side. So we're doing support contracts, we're fixing computers, printers. We were doing a lot of training and support on site at clients. When COVID hit, we had a real exposure point because the majority of our revenue came from being able to be at a client site. So we had been prepping into the cloud and getting different certifications and things like that. but we didn't have the takeoff prior to COVID that we probably should have had. But fortunately, COVID became a great salesperson for us. And so, people instantly sort of knew, hey, I need this cloud thing, I need to be able to get to my work and stuff. So we were able to weather that storm. We still have not cracked the corporate spot. I am proud to say we have, like right now, we have on deck 2 center city nonprofits, they are nice sized nonprofits that we should be closing on. And that's going to really help our firm out. But, I would love the opportunity to be able to sit in dialogue with some of the majority firms, whether it's a small or mid-sized firms, because there's some boutique firms out there that need our services, and they definitely have the financial wherewithal to pay for our services. And so that's, who we would love to be able to do business with. So I'm really excited. The first point that Susan talked about, the procurement initiative, yeah. I'm extremely excited about that. So I want to get some more information on that. And even your second initiative, the bank initiative. So one of the things that falls in line with wealth building that Sarah is so passionate about, and I'm just trying to learn as much as I can. So I am involved with an investment club that launched primarily business owners, Black business owners here in the city. And we're doing our first real estate deal. So we're at the point now where we do need a banking relationship to facilitate the construction mortgage. So we've been given some advice, but I'm real curious to learn more about your banking initiative to see if that may be a viable opportunity, maybe things we don't know. One of the things, and I'll say this.
Let me just pause you there because we have to take a break in just a minute. That's Joel Wilson, president of JCW Computer Consulting. We are doing a special conversation today. I'm Sarah Lomax-Reese, president and CEO of WURD Radio. And we're talking with some representatives from the Chamber of Commerce for the Greater Philadelphia area, Susan Jacobson, who's the board chair, and Ken Anderson, who's the head of civic affairs at the Chamber, and Joel Wilson, who's one of our WURD small business members. We're doing a bit of a takeover of Solomon's show of Wake Up with WURD today to talk about this new collaboration, this new partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. And it's really a part of our initiative, our livelihood initiative, which is all about trying to connect our listeners, our community with jobs, career readiness, entrepreneurship opportunities, access to capital, financial literacy, and all of those things that speak into that wealth building equation. And so we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, I do want to hear more from Ken and Susan, specifically about what Joel was referencing. What are the specifics around the diverse procurement initiative and the upskilling initiative and this banking initiative? Because, that's what we need, all of those things. We need access to capital. We need access to resources and opportunity and social capital, which I think is one of those one of those things that we don't pay enough attention to, but really can make the difference between growth and stagnation. So we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to WURD 900 AM, 96.1 FM, wordradio.com. You can check us also out on the app and on WURD TV via Facebook Live. And we'll be right back.
Last summer, Philadelphia stood up demanding justice and police accountability for the murders of George Floyd and Walter Wallace Jr. Hear firsthand accounts of the activism and the emotional toll in We Breathe, We Live, Brotherly Love Protest Stories, a first-person arts film presented by DBHIDS, Engaging Males of Color, premiering on Monday, May 24th at 8 p.m. on WHYY-TV and online. WURD Radio is a media partner for promoting mental wellness in Philadelphia. WURD family, West Philadelphia residents and business owners, listen up. Juneteenth is coming, and guess what? You have the opportunity to win cash dollars. It's the Juneteenth Freedom Day Float House Competition. Decorate your home, business, nonprofit, or entire block. Be a part of the largest Juneteenth celebration in the nation, right here in Philadelphia, by decorating your float house. Show your West Philadelphia pride. You could win $1,000 for the best decoration. One prize awarded in each category. Powered by Philadelphia Foundation. For all the details, log on to juneteenthphilly.org. Log on now, juneteenthphilly.org.
The Black Words Book Club. Word Radio's conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for June is Taught by Women, Poems as Resistance Language by Hakeem Adabudi. Be sure to listen live as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, Tuesday, June 8th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
And we're back. You are listening to Wake Up with Word with Sarah Lomax-Reese. I am guest. I'm inserting myself into Solomon's spot today. He's taking a well-deserved break today. And we're doing a special conversation with some of our representatives from the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia, and one of our 4WURD small business members, Joel Wilson, president of JCW Computer Consulting. We also have with us Susan Jacobson, who is the board chair for the Chamber, and also Ken Anderson, who is VP of Civic Affairs at the Chamber. And we're talking about some of the new initiatives that the Chamber has been implementing to speak into, the crisis that ensued for Black businesses and businesses in general after the COVID pandemic, but also the reality and the response to the racial justice protests that really put a spotlight on the disparities that exist in the Black community around wealth and jobs and access. So, COVID and that last year, 2020, was really all about health and wealth. And I think that I'm hoping that this partnership in connection with our livelihood initiative that's all about entrepreneurship and jobs will be able to, speak into and move the needle. I mean, at the end of the day, we're really in a show and prove moment. The Chamber of Commerce has been in existence for a long period of time, and we know that the economic profile in Philadelphia has not been a good one. We know that the number of Black-owned businesses in Philadelphia is woefully low. Some put it at 2.5% of the total business number. Others put it at a higher number based on how you define the business. But in any event, according to Michael Rashid, who's the Commerce Director, we are way, way, way behind other cities like Atlanta and DC and other places. So we have a lot of work to do. So I want to kind of get into the guts of this because, there is this, Sue Jacobson, you mentioned this banking initiative. We know, as Joel was mentioning, access to capital has always been a huge barrier for Black-owned businesses to grow, to get started or to even grow and to sustain. So talk to us about what this banking initiative through the Chamber is all about.
Right. And as I mentioned, Sarah, what happened was, in particular, when COVID struck, a lot of the leaders in financial institutions got together and said, okay, how can we do our part? Recognizing just what you said, that it's not fair, quite frankly. And how do you level the playing field? And so a group got together, including, and I mentioned some names, but I'll mention them again because I think, Evelyn Smalls, who I believe owns the largest Black-owned bank affiliate in the region. You had Jim Dever from Bank of America. You have Dan Fitzpatrick from Citizen. You have PIDC, that is a funding mechanism, and Ann Nevins there. And Pat Harker from the Federal Reserve. We had 26, and Charmaine Matlock Turner helping out, who runs the Urban Affairs Coalition to pull this all together, and Varsovia Fernandez, who's the executive director. So really a collection of a diverse collection of financial leaders in the region, with the ultimate goal of how do we do just what you were talking about? How do they provide resources to help small, local Black and brown businesses in Philadelphia? And it's off the ground now. As I mentioned, they put in their own money to hire, and Susan Larnigan from Fullerton Bank. I'm going to leave people out, but basically the bottom line is that this is not the important part, but it's really kind of exciting. You know, you talk about how Atlanta and other places leave us in the dirt. This actually is an initiative that no one else is doing anywhere else. But as you said, the really important thing is, how are we going to move the needle? So we've the groups together. They're right now trying to figure out, and they've made a commitment of $100 million to get it to individuals. And now they're working out the details and figuring out how do we make that work, and how do we leverage it?
So that $100 million is kind of a pot that all of these banks threw in. They collectively put in money that equals $100 million. And that $100 million is going to be dispersed how? And how do Black businesses that are in need of this money, how do they access it?
So, as I mentioned earlier, this is, these are problems that have existed for a long time. So that is exactly what they're trying to figure out now, is how to make that the most impactful. I believe that for people listening, for individuals listening and watching this show, that's exactly why we have this partnership with you, Sarah, and with WURD, is because, you can help us get the word out to businesses, small businesses who need that capital, and they might need something else. They might need, whatever it is. And,
I'll tell you, capital's at the top of the list. Right. Capital's at the top of the list. So, but I guess, like, I'm asking, like, very specifically, like, if someone is listening, Joel is listening right now, he needs access to capital. What would he or I do to, what would the next step be? How would we proceed to tap into those financial resources?
So my recommendation would be to do one of two things: to either and remember, that 100 million is in addition to what the other banks are already doing. This is just one initiative. So it's much bigger than that. But Sarah, I would say one of two things: either to contact us at the chamber, and we will immediately connect those individuals with, this is very grassroots. So with this banking group that is eager to help, or again, if you're okay with it, with our partnership, if businesses want to work, through your organization as well to get to us. But no matter what, that's our goal. So we do want people to come to us.
Good. So this is fantastic. It sounds great. I know that people like me and Joel are always skeptical, because I, like Joel, had a similar life experience with business that, just do this, and then the goalpost constantly moves. And so you're still, like, it's still elusive. And, I have been a Black media entrepreneur my entire career, coming up on 30 years. And I'll tell you, and I've told this to a lot of people, every single solitary day was a struggle. Every single solitary day was a struggle until 2020. That's like that's not even like a full year. And so, there's a lot of distrust, quite frankly, in in these kinds of programs, because for whatever reason, we're always coming up with a program, but it doesn't quite seem to get to the people who need it the most. And I'm just like speaking from personal experience and probably speaking, what some people in the listening audience are feeling. But Ken, yeah, you jump in because
yeah. So first of all, you're making great points, and as we said at the top of this for listeners as well, we definitely have a lot of work to be done to do. And so, in that vein, Sue made a suggestion of how to engage your listeners, and through our partnership, one of the ways that we're doing that is, our members are going to be posting their job vacancies on the Livelihood website, as an example.
That's right.
For those who are listening, you can always reach out to me in Civic Affairs, and I'll give you my email, which is kanderson@chamberphl.com. Be happy to connect, because that's what we do. That's the job of the chamber, to connect people. And as I said before, it's most important that we are getting the right resources to the right people at the right time. I can't say that enough. And so a lot of our initiatives are designed to do just that. I gotta tell you, I'm not a big fan of program, because as you talked about programming, it kind of comes and goes. And if we're looking at trust and building trust and sustainable ways to build wealth, I think it's an initiative that is needed. It's an imperative where we figure out, how do we make this long term? As an example, with the Diverse Procurement Collaborative, which is, Joel, you asked about, what we're doing as far as connecting those. So not only to banking institutions, but we've got about 81, and we're shooting for 100 of our members who've said, we have a strong commitment to changing our behavior. So not necessarily programmatic as much as changing our behavior about how we select, how we source Black and brown businesses for career, or for opportunities, for contracts, for our expanding vendor list. And so our Diverse Procurement Collaborative, and I won't name drop, but there's again 81 of our pretty strong procurement giants, if you will, who are in a position to say, we're going to really take an effort to make some changes there in this space. So really excited about it. And our partnership with WURD is going to allow us access, two-way. So we'll see who your membership and listeners are, and you'll get to see who's in the collaborative, and we'll hopefully make those connections that way and start the process.
That was Ken Anderson. He's the VP of Civic Affairs for the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia. We are talking with about a new partnership, a new collaboration between WURD and the Chamber today as a part of our Livelihood initiative that is all about connecting Black Philadelphians to jobs, financial resources, entrepreneurship opportunities, and small business development. We're also talking with Sue Jacobson, who's the board chair of the Chamber of Commerce, and Joel Wilson, a Forward small business member, who is the president of JCW Computer Consulting, and sounds like a lifelong entrepreneur based on your bio. So Joel, like based on what you're hearing about the, like say the Diverse Procurement Initiative in particular, because based on how you described your company, it sounds like that would be a tremendous opportunity if you could be connected with some of these larger corporations who are looking to do business with Black organizations. Like how would you, like what questions do you have? How would you tap into that and maximize it?
So I'm extremely interested in that component. My first question will be, how can I engage this process? Is it simply because I am part of the WURD small business family, or will I have to sign up with a Greater Philadelphia Chamber membership?
So one of the parts of this collaboration is we have a number of memberships to the Chamber that we will be sharing with some of our Forward small business members. So that's one thing, but it's a good question. Do you have to be a member of the Chamber in order to access this or tap into this Diverse Procurement Initiative?
So you don't have to be a member. We certainly encourage membership because the the Diverse Procurement Collaborative is one of many resources that we have, but you don't have to be a member. We are, again, very intentional about making sure that our work is inclusive. And so, Joel, I would encourage you to simply just take advantage of the format that we built. We're going to be doing about 6 or so gatherings or meetings throughout the year to bring experts to the table, to share resources, to share best practices, to give some real how-tos in order to move the needle in terms of connecting buyers and sellers, if you will. So definitely you and I, we should connect, and I'll make sure that that happens. But for listeners out there, again, encourage you to reach out to us at the Chamber, and let's figure this out. Because again, there's a lot of work to do, and we've got something that we think will move the needle, as they say in this space, with supplier diversity.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Skills Forward initiative as well, because you know, obviously, as one of the newest parts of our livelihood initiative is our jobs portal. We're really excited that that is up and running, and we really want to encourage people in our listening audience and beyond to use that jobs portal. Go to WURDWorks, WURDWORKS.com, and click on the jobs portal as a way to find jobs that are recruiting our audience, the people that we serve. And so we have jobs from all kinds of organizations, arts organizations, you know, all different kinds, managerial, you know, other kinds of jobs. And we're going to have more from the Chamber that are going into that jobs portal. So we really want employers to utilize it, and we want potential people who are looking for work to use it. So we're about to come up on a break, but before we go to that break, I just want to read another statistic about how challenging it is for Black workers. And this was from a report from McKinsey. It was a really powerful report, and it says, overall, their analysis found that Black workers are underrepresented in the highest growth geographies and the highest paying industries. Meanwhile, they are overrepresented in low growth geographies and in frontline jobs. Black workers face higher hurdles to gainful employment than do the rest of the labor force, creating stark disparities. For example, the employment rate for Black workers with some college or an associate's degree are similar to the total population of workers who have a high school diploma, which tend to pay less. So there's like a huge, you know, implicit, explicit bias thing going on with that statistic. And it keeps us locked into lower paying jobs without access and opportunity to advance in organizations. So I really want to dive into the Skills Forward initiative when we get back from the break. You're listening to Wake Up with WURD. It's Sarah Lomax-Reese, President and CEO of WURD, hosting this special roundtable talking about a new collaborative between WURD and the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia. We're talking with Sue Jacobson, who is the board chair of the Chamber, Ken Anderson, who's the VP of Civic Affairs for the Chamber, and Joel Wilson, one of our WURD small business members and the president of JCW Computer Consulting. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive back in. Don't go away.
The Philadelphia Salvation Army Kroc Center, located at 4200 Wissahickon Avenue, 19129, is hosting a community job fair on Tuesday, May 25th, 2021, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Kroc Center is partnering with area employers to showcase the variety of employment opportunities available as we return to normal. You belong here, doing the most good. Business casual. Bring your resume.
Does your pre-K to 12 student need reliable internet for digital learning? The city's PHL Connected program can help by offering free internet to eligible families. To find out if you qualify, dial 211. For language services, press 8. Learn more at phila.gov/PHL Connected.
Hi, WURD family. My name is Kim Hall Jackson, and I am a colorectal cancer survivor. If I can convince one person to get a screening, then I know my voice is making a difference. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner and get your Fit Kid test today.
WURD Radio has partnered with the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, Independence Blue Cross Foundation, Penn Medicine, and LabCorp to provide a free at-home screening test for colon cancer. All WURD listeners can register for a free at-home screening test as a part of the Go to Know campaign. This campaign is designed to provide African Americans with free testing for early colon cancer screening. Colon cancer can be prevented, and early detection saves lives. Go to wordradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to request your free test today.
Clark Roofing Company has over 30 years of quality roofing experience, providing exceptional customer service, honesty, and professionalism. Clark Roofing is a second-generation master roofer, installing top-quality roofing systems for commercial and residential properties across the tri-state area. For fast, dependable service, call 215-365-ROOF. That's 215-365-7663.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
And we are back. You are listening to a special broadcast. I'm Sarah Lomax-Reese, President and CEO of WURD, sitting in for Solomon Jones today, taking a much-deserved break. Hopefully he'll be back tomorrow. We're talking about a special partnership with the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia. WURD has our Livelihood Initiative, which is all about connecting Black businesses, Black people to jobs, career readiness, entrepreneurship opportunities. And we just launched a jobs portal that we are going to be populating even more jobs with the partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. And we're talking with two representatives from the Chamber of Commerce, Sue Jacobson, who's the board chair of the Chamber, and Ken Anderson, who's the VP of Civic Affairs for the Chamber, and Joel Wilson, who is a forward small business and president of JCW Computer Consulting. And so, before we went to break, I gave a statistic or a quote about just the difficulties and the kind of the way that Black workers get kind of locked out of opportunities to advance. They're locked into lower paying, lower skilled jobs. And, I want you all to talk a little bit about your Skills Forward initiative that I believe is designed specifically to, empower workers to grow within organizations and hopefully move into positions of greater economic opportunity. So who wants to, Ken, you want to?
Yeah, sure. I'll take that one. So our Skills Forward, we're really excited about this initiative. It really focuses on upskilling and reskilling, to your point about how do we make sure that we are positioned to get people the jobs that they need or that are the jobs of the future. And so there's a platform that we've developed through some work with Accenture, our Skills Forward, which will actually provide a portal for identifying those people and getting them jobs. As a matter of fact, the pilot actually committed to about 5,000 jobs, and these are real jobs. And so it's not just an exercise of where people will show up and then you get disappointed. These are actual jobs that our portal is making available. The other exciting part, I'll say, is that we partner with WURD, as you know, and so we will be again sending and talking. Our portal will talk with your portal, if you will, and that way we'll make sure that folks have access to those opportunities. So really, really excited about this initiative because we think it's real. We know it's real because it's real work.
Sarah, one of the things we heard, you talked about, okay, so how are we going to move the needle now? Like, what's different? And one of the things we learned is that there are all of these individual organizations all over the place doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things we've been doing is trying to bring everybody together. And so that, because that's where you get the scale that you're talking about, is when we get the best practices, everybody together, we try to avoid duplication. And I do believe that's something that, you wouldn't necessarily think of, but that is really important in our trying to get success with these programs.
Absolutely. So I want to just ask a quick question, because we're actually, believe it or not, running out of time. But the African American Chamber of Commerce, we have a very close relationship with the African American Chamber, and I'm curious, what is the relationship between the African American Chamber and the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia? Are there any kind of discounted memberships, or can you get a twofer or anything like that by being a member of one and or the other?
I'll just jump in first. I don't know the membership question, but I can tell you, Steve Bradley, who is the chair of the African American Chamber and also is on the Chamber of Commerce board, and Regina Hairston. We have a really, truly, and I know they would say the same thing, a wonderful reciprocal relationship. We are constantly, almost daily communicating. Rob Wunderling, our chair, Ken, I know everybody is involved. And so when we even talk with city council, we're very much aligned. If, again, our goals. So there, I have to tell you, I would say, and I believe they would say, that we really have a wonderful relationship, and we're very proud of that relationship. And it goes back quite a while. It's not something new. It's something that's existed over time.
Yeah,
So
I would agree. The African American Chamber and our partnership has been great. I'm constantly talking with, folks over there, and Regina's been great as well. And I know that they've got also a strong commitment to working together as well. And so we're pulling all in the same direction, which is very encouraging.
So I got a question from a listener about the banking, the banking initiative, and wanting to get a little bit more specificity around how exactly that is going to work. Is it going to be, how are Black businesses going to be able to access those resources? Do they have to go to a bank? Are CDFIs going to be involved? Has all of that stuff been worked out? Because, is there a third party kind of intermediary between the bank and the chamber or the business? So do you guys have that worked out?
The CDFIs are the intermediary, and so I think what they're trying to figure out right now is they're making the sausages. How do we leverage that correctly? And I think, to answer your question, and Ken, help me here, for listeners and viewers, I think the best thing to do, Ken, maybe is to to give your email address again, and we can connect those individuals with, but again, Sarah, I think through your partnership, our partnership with the Chamber and WURD, that's another vehicle where we will definitely put information up and be able to do that. But yes, we are making the sausage. We are trying to figure out, I know they are trying to figure out how to get that money as quickly as possible to the right people and do it so that it's impactful.
Yeah,
I would just encourage that as you're making the sausage and working it out, like, prioritize the Black-led CDFIs.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you're spot on, and thank you, Sarah, for that too. As we are making the sausage, that is at the top of the list, that prioritization, because again, that's part of our aspiration to be known as a place for investing in and growing Black and brown businesses. But I'll say to the listeners, yes, please reach out to me. I'll give you my email address again. It's kanderson@chamberphl.com. Would be happy to answer any questions and also connect folks as appropriate. So I'm looking forward to hearing from everyone.
And so, Joel Wilson, as we get ready to wrap things up, I'm curious, based on your experiences, what you've heard today, I really, and I've said this to Ken, I feel like we're at a moment of show and prove, like the talky stuff is done. So what would you need to see as a small business to feel like we're actually moving the needle through these initiatives, this partnership, those kinds of things?
So my first priority is on the procurement initiative. So I believe I heard Ken say something about there's like 6 different workshops that will be held through the year. But what I'm hoping is that I'm I don't want to necessarily wait for an upcoming workshop. I want to communicate with Ken. I want to get plugged in now. I want to, start dialoguing with potential businesses that are looking to buy IT tech services. So that's top of my priority list. And if you have workshops, I'm interested in those as well. And then secondarily, on the bank initiative, one of the questions I did have there is, in your consortium of banks, do you have any fintech banks in there? And the reason I'm asking is what I've found, and I've dialogued with a lot of my peer business owners. We've had much easier success with fintech banks such as your PayPal, and now I understand that Square is building a headquarters in Philadelphia in the not too distant future. So, but these banks have provided funding in a very efficient manner to a lot of Black businesses when other folks were just saying, they couldn't fund them. So, we want them to be part of the mix of what you are doing, because we do have a greater confidence in those banks than we do in some of the other ones that are mentioned.
So thank you, Joel Wilson. I want to give Ken and Sue like some last thoughts. We've got 1 minute. So what's your final thought? And I'll start with you, Ken, and end with you, Sue. Final thought.
Final thought is I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by the potential. And I like how you put it, Sarah, and you're right. We've had conversations before about a lot of talk is time to do. We've talked a lot about these things in the past. It's time for action. So we are prepared to do things and be intentional about things that are measurable and actionable. And so, I look forward again to continuing our partnership with WURD and the listeners and the community at large.
And give your email address one more time.
Absolutely. It's kanderson@chamberphl.com.
Excellent. Sue Jacobson, board chair.
Yeah, no, and thank you for this terrific partnership. My thoughts are that we've got to continue to lean in, and we've got to try. We don't have an option. And that's the bottom line, is we've just got to keep pushing at it, and we got to keep working, and we've got to, like you said, Sarah, we've got to move the needle.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank everyone. Joel Wilson, a Forward Small Business member and president of JCW Computer Consulting. Ken Anderson, who's the VP of Civic Affairs at the Chamber for Greater Philadelphia, and Sue Jacobson, who's the board chair for the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia. So there you have it. We are out of time. I'm Sarah Lomax Reese, President and CEO of WURD. We're excited about this partnership, but it's also about accountability. We're also going to be, pushing and prodding and making sure that the things that we're talking about are not just about conversation, but are really about action. This community, this Black community in Philadelphia needs things to change radically now. There's an urgency to it. And so, and it is really all hands on deck. So I want to thank all of you for your time and for this collaboration. I also want to direct people, if you want more information about our livelihood initiative, you can definitely go to WURDWORKS.com, wordworks.com, or you can email us at livelihood@wordradio.com. Thank you, Kawesa, for keeping us all together today. Thanks everyone for listening or watching. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon. Take good care.
The Pennsylvania